From KC24, your local election headquarters, with your host, Alexan Balakian. This is Sunday Morning Matters.
Hey, good Sunday morning to you. I am Alexan Balakian. Please join the conversation this morning on social media at RealAlexan. Use the hashtag Sunday Morning Matters. Along the way, Mayor Lee Brand one-on-one after he drops the axe on a controversial program. Plus a possible rematch. Former Congressman David Valadao breaks his silence. But we also begin with the visit that's rejuvenating Valley farmers.
Well, hello, California.
Vice President Mike Pence and Second Lady Karen Pence energizing local Republicans with their visit to Lemoore and Coalinga. Once Air Force 2 landed at the Naval Air Force Station there in Lemoore, he rolled up his sleeves, slipped on some boots, and talked trade with Valley farmers. His speech at Freitas Farms in Lemoore focused on the new trade agreement with Canada and Mexico. Congress may not vote on it until September, but Pence says it's a great deal for local farmers and California business owners.
We'll have trading rules that support innovation by addressing biotechnology. Poultry producers are going to have new access to Canada for chicken and eggs and expanded access for turkey. And the USMC, somebody's excited about that. Making Thanksgiving plans over there. We're not going to allow outdated trade deals to hurt American farmers or American workers anymore. That's why we need the USMCA.
Pence also held a private Trump victory fundraiser at Harris Ranch on Wednesday. It generated more than $500,000. The VP then paid a visit to Vandenberg Air Force Base and held another fundraiser there in San Diego on Thursday. And Second Lady Karen Pence met with military spouses at NAS Lemoore. She highlighted an executive order from President Trump that enhances opportunities for military spouses looking for employment in the federal government. She added that the Department of Defense Military Spouse Employment Partnership has hired 130,000 spouses to date.
The strength of our nation does not just come from the people in uniform who fight to protect our freedom, but the spouses and the families that serve right alongside them.
It was just a great experience for the military spouses to gather together and to hear her supportive words of us, of what we do.
The Second Lady then handed out a bracelet or a pin, and they also posed for pictures. But not everyone was enamored by their visit.
He's here to raise money, and he's talking to a lot of the farmers, but he's not talking to the community.
The chair of the Fresno County Democratic Party, Michael Evans, believes the VP's message only targeting farmers there. Does our panel agree? This is where we take roll call. Our KC24 political analyst Jim Veros is here. Sitting next to him, representing the Fresno County and City Republican Women Federated, Diane Pierce, and software consultant and delegate for the local Democratic Party, Ricardo Franco. Welcome one and all. So, Ricardo, I want to start with you. Let's come straight out with it. Do you agree there with Mike Evans? Is he only talking to farmers here, the vice president, not really talking about, to the community where this whole new plan can create more than 130,000 jobs? Businesses will prosper from this new trade deal, you say?
No, I mean, Mike Evans is correct. He's only talking to the farmers, but at the same time, I don't think it's anything to be too surprised about. This is the Vice President of the United States coming to an area. What is this all about? Money, generating and supporting that base. The people that have influence here are farmers and not necessarily the people out there in the community that he should be reaching out to, right? This region is strongly agricultural based, but we have other issues beyond agriculture that we have to talk about.
Diane, this was a chance for the VP to talk about the humanitarian crisis, that bill that they just passed. Not a word of it. Not one mention of it. Do you think the Trump administration whiffed here on a grand opportunity?
No, I think he had a specific point in promoting the USMCA and trying to get the local Republicans to even try to reach out to some of our ag-minded Democratic friends in Congress to try and get that going. But at the same time, the fact that he wasn't talking to the community and focused on farmers, I think it plays to what is unique about the Republican Party in California and in the Central Valley in particular, which is the agricultural base, and how that immigration issue influences some of our feelings and opinions on kind of the national policies that the Republican Party looks at. So it's really an influential group for him to be connected with as far as promoting and advancing the Trump administration's policies and plans in that arena.
But Jim, you know, kind of what I talked to here with Diane about, but he visited some farmers. He went to a couple Air Force bases, one in Lemoore, one in Vandenberg there, but he didn't visit what's happening on the border. Why wouldn't he do that? He went to San Diego, and we're supposed to have these immigration raids over the weekend, right? And
well,
so
you also picked up a nice Samsonite full of cash too. So don't forget that. And listen, it's election season, so you know you're going to be picking up money where you can. I think you have to take a look at the gubernatorial race that we just had, and I think you saw a lot of ag associations that typically would have been donating money and giving endorsements to Republicans, were giving it to Democrats this past time, especially in the primaries. So I think there was a little bit of house cleaning that the vice president came in, you know, spoke to the base. Obviously, it's some fundraising, so that's what he did. But it was to reassure their base, hey, pump the brakes. Don't get soft on us now. Don't go 10-ply. Like easy. Hang on here. This is what we're doing for you. I know you're hearing a lot about, you know, how you're not going to be able to sell our products to China and other places. We're doing a lot of great things for you. So I think that's why the vice president didn't go to the border and didn't do a lot of things. I think there was a lot of house cleaning he needed to do for the upcoming election.
Ricardo, the VP's visit, did it renew faith for farmers that all the trade war and the talk of tariffs are going to come to a close?
You know, I don't even think it's about that. You've got to remember what happened in that area in 2018. Valadao lost. And that's the reassurance that I think Jim's talking about.
Right.
And quite frankly, not even being a farmer, but a person who's interested in the economy as a whole, it's really hard to tell where this administration is when you've got them pushing USMCA, but then also engaging in a trade war in tariffs with China, which doesn't benefit anybody.
Well, the USMCA, the deal here that they're talking about, and the trade wars with Mexico and even Canada, does it ease the farmers here in the Central Valley? Hey, okay, everything's going to be restored.
No, I mean not until it actually passes, and you actually have a collaborative plan.
Why would Congress deny this one?
You cannot look at this as in a one-size-fits-all thing. The market and human beings don't interact that way. So it has to be a more comprehensive economic plan. You can't do one thing and pass this act.
So you don't think Congress is going to come through on this one?
We'll see. I think there's still going to be a lot of consensus building that has to happen on this.
It's replacing NAFTA, though.
It is. It's going to be a big one.
In the upcoming presidential election, he doesn't need California. He needs the Rust Belt swing states, which is what this program is supposed to be replacing NAFTA. So it may be helping the farmer, may or may not be helping the farmers in California, but it needs to pass, and if it doesn't, there's going to be a blame game into the Rust Belt swing states where Trump needs to win re-election.
Well, and that's the fight. Is this going to be President Trump's, or the Democrats going to come in and say we put amendments in it?
Well, I want to move on to this because it's been a hot topic. Congressman Eric Swalwell here in California. No surprise, maybe a surprise for some. He's the first to drop out of the race, and then Tom Steyer, same day, he says, I'm in the mix, here I come. So you got a billionaire there that's just like President Trump at this point trying to get into the mix here. This combination, Diane, when you look at this, does this confuse things even more for this Democratic pool of candidates?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I can't even imagine what it would require to confuse things even more. I mean, anybody who watched those debates can see they're plenty confused already. So, no, swapping out a Swalwell for a Steyer, that really is nothing.
Ricardo, I mean, Tom Steyer here, he said back in January, I'm not running, I just want to impeach the president. But now he's running. So how much is this about impeaching the president or actually running for president?
We'll find out. We'll find out about that when the votes come in. You know, the thing about the Democratic Party is we do call ourselves a big tent party. Anybody can run. But I guarantee you right now that behind the scenes there's a lot of string pulling. Don't forget about Swalwell. Before he dropped out, he was seeing a progressive challenger in his district that a lot of the grassroots supporters there wanted to see overtake his seat. They saw him as being too close to some of the establishment. So he's not going to win the presidency. He also has the risk of not getting reelected to Congress. All of a sudden, he's out of a job.
Yeah.
Tom didn't like what the Democrats were doing about impeaching President Trump.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of money to help a lot of people get into Congress, and they have not impeached President Trump. And he's saying, well, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it myself, and which is what billionaires like to do.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to punctuate the great visit that, you know, hey, it's not all too much that we see a VP visit the college.
Right.
It gives us
No,
airtime. We're
no
talking
matter
about
what
it.
side of the fence you're on,
Yeah.
it is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
All right, we're back in round two a little bit later.